folks, welcome to another on the bench video. This one might be lengthy. I just had a customer of mine come round to revamp this base here. Now, what does it look like? Yes, you're right, it looks like a Warwick, doesn't it? Yes, a Warwick. But it looks like a cross between a Warwick Corvette and maybe a Warwick Dolphin. And this got kind of a Yamaha curve to it here, so I'm thinking it's a Corvette. Not quite sure. The up the neck stock end, there might be some more details. I can look into it, but the guy dropped it off. A very, very pleasant man, as all bass players are, and man or woman, all bass players are awesome, right? So yeah, or other things. Sorry, I forgot to mention. God, I'm gonna get a strike. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh my God. And you know how you don't want to cast doom and gloom to a guy who's just can't. Well, to give him his credit, he was very knowledgeable, knew a lot about stuff, and what he wants done with this is this. He wants it to be a fretless. He did get a fretless neck, which is the exact specs of this Warwick bass here, and this needs to be completely re-radiused and refinished in order for it to be playable, really. I did look at the electronics in here. Not good. We'll go through that. I did a quick setup check on it as a free evaluation. I always evaluate everything for free. Nobody needs to pay a dime until I tell them, itemize it in writing what's wrong with the bass. And unfortunately there is a lot of things wrong with this bass, but I absolutely love this body. It's a swamp ash body that's been torched. I think it's been stripped down, then torched, then all the natural pits in the wood have come out. It looks like it's been on a campfire. It has tales to be told, this bass, and so I'm really looking forward to this exploration of this bass, and I will send out an itemized bill, and the customer can either choose to accept things or reject things. What does he want done, and I'll show you that itemized bill when I come back. Cheers. Actually, I won't at all, because that's confidential. Okay, as you can see, I have opened the cavity for the electronics. There's a little preamp in there, some really high quality components in there, except for this. Whoever invented barrel jack plugs outputs should be shot forthwith without any prior warning. I hate these things. If you gig a lot, if you're a big time gigging bassist, these things fail after about a year or two. I mean, they're awful. So I've replaced it with a more conventional stereo jack, which these have never let me down. They might look fragile, but they're not. So the wiring I got from Warwick's site, and it was correct. There's just different wire colours in here. I don't have purple wire, so that's a strange thing. But the purple, actually the white goes to the tip, okay? The purple goes to the ring, and the black goes to the sleeve. So black's ground, white is the hot signal, and the purple goes to the red. So, you know, that's the way this is. And this, I've tested this out, it works fine. So I'm going to solder that in place now, get that all tidied up. Customer wanted this either repaired or replaced. What I'm going to do is, now the barrel on this is quite a bit wider than the barrel on this, so I'll just drill through a hole to accommodate this style of jack, which is much easier to replace and lasts a lot longer, I have to say. And we'll slide that in, and we'll use this. Now I'll bash this into shape here. This will get bashed into shape with a rubber mallet on a jig that I have, and then we'll just use this jack plate here and we'll front mount it. Much easier to pull in and out. I'm going to have lots of cable to work with. I'll wrap that up. And this is a good thing about this actually as well, that there's a lot of cable to work with, which is kind of lucky for me. With this abomination as well, I'm going to replace this for free. I'm going to use a plastic cased battery terminal, because these things are just, oh, you're scared to actually pull them on and off. They're that fragile. Oh, excuse me. Wow, big sneeze. Anyway, let's go do that stuff. Okay, so yeah, all the electronics repairs have been done that were asked for. A new input jack there with a plate this time, and goes like that. This is actually not going to be the one that actually gets installed. That will be here in a couple of days. But you know, much better than that stupid barrel jack. And I've left plenty of wire there for the next guy that has to get in here if repairs are required in the future. And of course we'll tidy all this up, you know, get it all nice and tidy. Also, I took for free, actually, because I hate these, I took this abomination out. These things, I don't, you know, they're all bendy and stuff, and I'm always scared they break. You know, that stupid hoodie battery clip away. I put this in instead. It's solid plastic, and it's the cables are routed from the middle, you know, instead of up here, because then you can place it in, and it will go flush to the control cavity, like so. And that is staying there because this is a little thicker than this piece of shit. So yeah, so that goes in there. I'll route all these cables around here and get it all tidied up, but for the time being I'm going to leave this just loose just now, and I'm going to tape it in place because, like I said, I have a new jack plate coming on Monday, just to get this nice and flush, because this isn't really the one I want. It's an old one I have, just to get an idea of where to drill holes and stuff. I'll just tape that on there using some painter's tape, and let's go and check if everything still works, right? Okay, let's turn it over. There we go. Okay, a nice Warwick. Really like the designs that Warwick came up with. Superb. Okay, I'm going to use wireless for this. Switch that on. Put that in there. I'll switch the amp on, and we should get a signal from the pickups. This circuit is beautiful. I don't even think it needs shielding. And well, it's got the shielding paint in there, conductive paint. I'd much prefer to put copper tape in there, but that's an option that my customer can either go with or not. That's fine. Everything working. Let's back pickups. Yep. Front pickup. perfect. Okay, everything is working as it should. Center indent, both pickups. Yeah, okay, cool. On to the next, Okay, next thing in this repair job is a neck swap. A neck swap. I have here a fretless neck that was it was made by taking the frets out and covering the whole neck in epoxy, and didn't turn out the way that was wanted, so I'm going to refinish the whole neck. First off, I'm going to strip off all the epoxy, and it's coming off pretty easy. I'm getting right down to the maple here, and the maple's very nice. It is a 3-piece maple neck, quarter sawn it looks like, so pretty strong. So we just using 220 grit here. I will not use anything rougher on refinishing a neck because I don't want to recontour it, of course. Just want to do enough to get down to the wood. So that's what I'm going to do here. We'll get down to the wood, then we're going to turn the neck around, and because it's not a straight headstock, it's an angled headstock, much like a Gibson, stuff like that. Although there's no scarf joints in here, so I think this was made out of pre-shaped segments, is what I'm thinking. But anyway, once we get all that stripped down, we'll turn it over, and then we'll strip down the fingerboard, and we'll re-radius it. And the customer wants a 20-inch radius, which I have. I have all sorts of radius blocks in here, so that's not a problem. And we'll get that re-radiused. We'll get it back up, and we'll do a setup on it, and that should be it for the first phase of this. I'm just hoping that it will turn out okay. It looks to be spiffy so far. I mean, nice neck. This is a nice neck. Looks pretty straight as well. Didn't see any deviations in it. I just need to get all this bad epoxy off it, and we'll be cool. And we'll go from there. Great. Okay, so you can see on the top of this, the headstock, the customer had informed me that the guitar slipped while on his shoulder and hit the pavement. Ouchie. Now there's a lot of wood fibre split in there and stuff. Let me get that into focus, if it will ever focus. Yeah, the problem is that piece of sandpaper's moving with the air conditioning and it's taking focus, so hold on just now. Go away. Alright, yeah, that's better. So how do we fix this? Well, there's a number of ways to fix something like that. You can actually cut out the wood and replace it, but I would rather not. I can make up an amalgam of maple, sawdust and glue, and see how far this can compress in. I'm going to clamp this right now to see how far it will compress in the way. Dig out some material, make it flat, and then fill it. You'll still see the fill because, of course, the customer doesn't want the headstock painted. So I'm going to attempt to repair that. I'm going to do that for nothing. Yeah, it's just a good deal, you know. And I want to see this neck live again, so yeah, let's go for it. Awesome. Okay, there was a shitload of epoxy on this neck, the fingerboard actually, to fill in the fret slots. That's cool, but you can see it's starting to get down to the wood now. Oh yes. And what I'm going to have to do, and you can see it has been radius because I've been using a flat sander, and of course I'm going to start to get this first coming off, but I'm going to sand it flat, sand the fingerboard flat, and then re-radius it. So yeah, coming along real nice. It's not taking that long at all. I already stripped the neck minus the fingerboard of the finish that was on it, and I am of course repairing the down. Let's see how that's getting on. Yeah, it's looking good. It's getting filled up, and yeah, should be ready to go with this pretty soon. I'll just finish this off, get it radiused, then we'll oil it up and we'll attach it, and then that's where I stop with this repair until the customer wants something else. Nice. Okay, the neck has been stripped down completely of all the epoxy that was on it. Turned out quite nice. There are certain dings here that if I try to, well, they're not actually dings, they're part of the epoxy job that was stripped. Now if I attempt to sand that down any further, the heel of the neck is not going to fit properly in the pocket. It'll be too slack, so I'm keeping that the way it is. This one will be hidden by the neck pocket anyway. But as you can see, that's that down to 320 grit, just waiting to be oiled. Now, as I showed you before, there was severe damage to the headstock here, which I have fixed. The wood was crushed, so what I did was I steamed it slightly to open the pores of the wood, let it dry a little bit, and then I made up, of course, the good old maple dust and Titebond Ultimate glue mixture, packed that all in there, and then I clamped this shut because it was all split open, and I clamped it, waited for it to dry, and it filled up very nicely indeed there. Just a couple of dots to mention of. The problem being though that the veneer was so badly damaged that this will never polish up, and the only way, well, it would polish up, but I would take the logo off and everything. The only way to really repair that is to take that veneer off and replace it with another veneer. That's too much money to attempt to do, so we'll discuss that with the customer and see where he wants to go from there. But everything else looking really good. I did put one coat of boiled linseed oil on this neck, and it completely drank that all in, so it's going to need 2 or 3 coats. I'll just lightly sand this after this first coat, just to get anything that's blemish wise out of there. This will also, I'm not re-radiusing the neck here, I'm just giving it a light scuff sand. It's already radiused to 20 inches per customer specification. And you'll also notice there are a couple of worn spots on the neck here. Let me show you here. I don't know if you'll be able to see them. There. See, that's worn right here. When I took the epoxy off, those were revealed. Those are just wear marks from use. If I want to sand past that, flatten it and then re-radius it again, the fingerboard would probably come out of spec, and then I need to shim the neck and, or you know, all that hassle. So that's getting left as is. And again, I will consult with the customer to see if he wants to go through all that rigmarole, which is probably not a good idea at this point. But yeah, the neck's looking good, and let's go and finish this off. Indeed. Okay, cool. Okay, that's the final coat of linseed oil and mineral spirits on the fingerboard. It's looking very nice now. That's not too bad there now. Of course, a repolish would take off the logo to get down to the level of the damage there, so that's up to the customer. And the coat is drying now, seeping into the wood. This wood really sucked up 3 or 4 coats. I just want to make sure it's protected. We are in Florida. I need a good moisture barrier there for this fingerboard. So yeah, looking good. Can't wait to get this baby back together. Should be fun. So, per customer request, the new fretless neck, well, it's not new, but the refinished fretless neck is now installed on the base. and we're going to get an idea how it's going to sound. When we put these flat wounds on here, fretless, usually you go with flat wounds so you don't chew the neck up, and that's awesome by me. Got this nice floating nut here that Warwick have in their design. That'll go there, right there. Oh, kind of falls out. I need to screw those back in a bit. That's fine. So we'll get this stringed up and then we'll do a setup on it. I'm still waiting on a jack plate coming in, and that'll be in within the next day or so. So we'll just go ahead and get it all dialed in, and then the customer can come back, and if he wants some more work done, which the base really does need more work. I mean, the bridge needs to come back a little bit for intonation. Maybe not as important on a fretless as it is on a fretted, but you can still see where the frets were taken out of this neck, you know, so you can't use them as guidelines to where you should put your fingers if you can't get full intonation. But we'll go ahead, we'll string it up, we'll look at, we'll do a quick setup on it and see how it reacts. Cool. Well, here's something that's not totally unexpected. I have issues with these things before. This is the mini tuners that you get, you know, with the one screw instead of the four, like the Fender club type tuners, the big sturdy ones. These are smaller, and they have a tendency to fail, either in the gears, in the worm gear, or the shaft here. And as you can see, that's sheared. Okay, so I just contacted the customer, and when I took them off the old neck to put on the neck I just refinished, they were a bit shaky, or as you say in Scotland, shoogly. And yeah, when I tried to tune up one of the strings, it just gave up the ghost. And this happens a lot. Now, the bass is actually a Warwick Fortress rock bass, which is a discontinued bass from Warwick. So I believe, you know, and this is a Warwick tuner actually, as you can see. It's actually a Warwick tuner. There you go. So yeah, there are 3 Warwick tuners on the bass and 1 aftermarket one. So yeah, these tuners have issues like that sometimes. I've had issues in the past, and I've learned to expect that sort of thing. So I have texted the customer, and let's see what he goes for. I was going to attempt to epoxy this, but it's not worth it. I do work with a number of companies that can get me a great deal on some nice tuners for this bass at no additional cost to the customer. All you would need to do is pay for the price of the tuners, and I will install them, because, you know, that's what I was doing anyway. So anyway, awesome, or not. Okay, the bass has been sitting here for a couple of days, these nice Warwick Fortress. I had set it up, give it a quick setup and stuff, and then let it sit for a couple of days. Let's see if it's still set up. Okay, so first off, we'll start with neck relief. Capo on where the first fret would be, like so. Get my 12 thou feeler gauge here, the bass up, press down on the 17th fret, and then under the 7th fret, this should just slide under it fairly easily, and it just does. Yep, and that's the same as it was 2 days ago. This neck is bedding in very nice. Just check the treble side here. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that. That's cool. Okay. Quickly check string height. String height, I shoot for about 1/16 of an inch, or in 64ths, between 4/64ths and 5/64ths of an inch at the 17th fret, even on a fretless. So let's see what we've got. The E, oh, wrong scale. The E is about 4/64ths, which is just over that, in fact. So it's 5/128ths. It's about 1/16 of an inch. The A, the same. D, the same. And the G is the same at the 17th fret. So it's all between 4 and 5/64ths of an inch, plus or minus 128th of an inch. So that's held its position perfectly as well. Let's do a little bit pickup height. And when I press down on the final fret here, I want the pickup to be about the height between the top of the pickup and the bottom of the string to be about 4mm. This is a 4mm hex wrench. Does the job for this. That's good there. Let's try here. Yeah, that's good. So it's holding properly. No, I wouldn't touch that. It just slides under too. Okay, so everything's holding its setting. I'll quickly check the intonation, and we'll be good to go, I think, on this one. Let's make sure it's hold. Let's see if it's in tune first. Held tune. By the way, there is a chrome tuning peg in here. The rest black. One of them, as I showed you, kind of fell apart, but the customer had spares, so he's sending me those and should be here today or tomorrow. So yeah, okay, let's see if it's held tune. That is in tune. So is that. So is that. Well, it's held tune over 2 days perfectly, and it's been in different heats, different humidities, different climates. I've moved it around a bit. That's good. Let's check intonation. That's bang on. Slightly flat. Might not need to move this bridge after all the work I did, and I'll explain the work I did anyway. That's perfect. Yeah, space is set up and ready to go. Okay, I'll quickly explain what I did to the bass. Just a summary. Okay. Well, folks, let's just summarise what was done to this bass. I have my work order up here on the workshop laptop, and let's just go through the items, shall we? Well, I did extend some courtesy items. I always find that to be fair, for one, and two, it garnishes a good relationship with the customer. And you know, as a player myself, you know, things irk me so much that I'll just say, I'll do this for free, you know. But anyway, the major job was refinishing the fretless neck that the customer gave me, and that was done. The epoxy was all scraped off, the wood completely refinished with a satin finish, which is boiled linseed oil, which absorbs into the wood and seals it from humidity. That was done. The neck was then radiused to 20 inches, which is a very flat radius, which is good for fretless, I find. Other people require, would rather have like a 7.25 sorry, radius, and I think that's a bit too much for me anyway, but it's all down to taste. And then I replaced the output jack socket and put a new plate on it as well, instead of having that stupid barrel output jack socket. which was awful. So those were the major jobs that I did. As a courtesy to the customer, I replaced the battery clip inside the control cavity, which was one of those flimsy plastic, you know, the plastic, really soft plastic ones you can bend. I replaced that with a hard like ABS plastic clip. Next was, oh yeah, I had to put a shim in the neck. I had to install a shim in the neck because the neck was sitting too low at the heel side of the pocket, and I couldn't get the proper string action I wanted during setup. So I stuck a hardwood engineered veneer shim in there, hunky-dory, as you saw in the setup. The strap knob at the bottom was kind of, the hole was stripped, so I plugged the hole and re-drilled it, tightened up the strap knob. The neck swap I threw in for free, and the headstock damage that I showed you, that's the thing I was talking about. As a player, it really annoys me, so I steamed that, let it settle, filled it, and then compressed it and let it sit overnight until it retained its original shape, then buffed it down. That's it. Quite a good job, this one. I enjoyed it very much. Very unusual base, if not only for the body finish, which I think is kind of genius. You know, looking like a bit of driftwood. I think it looks fantastic. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps me out eternally. Well, maybe not quite, maybe that's an overstatement, but you know what I mean. And ring that bell for notifications of any further uploads I will do in the future. So until then, all that remains for me to say is stay safe, be good, and I hope you enjoyed this little repair job that I did. I hope my customer likes it too. He'll be swinging by later on to pick up the base. Cheers. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye bye.